Hi, Pep. I hope you're well. Just wanted to start with Ferran Torres, really. Can you tell us exactly what's happening? Is he definitely going to Barcelona? If he is, why was that decision taken? And does it mean you will look to bring in a striker in January?
Last question. No, he's not going to bring any striker in January. Second question. It's not for Chiqui didn't tell me anything officially, so I cannot answer. So I know they are negotiating. I think it's close. And that's all. When the club will announce, will be done. But right now, Chiqui didn't call me, didn't text me about it's already done.
Pep, we've seen a couple of games go this weekend already due to a rise in COVID cases. So just wonder now, how do you feel about carrying on with the Premier League programme, given that rise in cases, rather than taking a break across the board?
Well, raising cases all around the world is not just in the case of the Premier League. So it's in everywhere. So we saw the last fixture that maybe 5 or 6 it was postponed games. So it's a lot. And what the Premier League and is going to decide, consulting the managers and the people, will be good for us. So nothing to add. What we want is that people stay safe, stay well, and please social distance, mask for everyone. Because I'm surprised, like the people is saying, be careful, use the mask. And I go to the street and the places and everyone is completely not following a little bit the rules. And we should take care individually, personally, a little bit more, pay attention of these kind of things where we protect ourselves and the rest of the people. But the reality in this new variant is here. And cases are rising, and unfortunately, one of Premier League of football is not exception. And what they're going to decide this afternoon, the Premier League, we will support.
And just looking at your squad, Pep, what response have you seen from Phil Foden and Jack Grealish after they didn't play against Newcastle? And does their behaviour this week now warrant game time this weekend?
Fernandinho, Nathan Ake, Cole Palmer didn't play neither.
I'm just thinking of those two because obviously they're the ones that made the headlines as regards the fact that they were pictured on a night out.
Yeah, some players go out to dinner out. Yeah.
So there wasn't a problem. It's just what I'm trying to clarify, and therefore they could, feasibly be available once again for selection. I mean, they were available last week, obviously, but it seems that something was built up out of that.
Absolutely, I'm going to clarify it, but not to you. Absolutely not.
Sam, BBC.
Hi, Pep. Hope you're okay. You kind of started that debate with what you said after the game. How important is it for a manager that they have rules that players stick by?
They are not rules. I'm not a police. I'm not saying what they have to do. Everyone is old enough and experienced enough to know exactly what they have to do. So we are living in a special circumstances in our lives that we cannot live free like we live in the past due to the pandemic situation that is still here. And everyone has to try to follow us, as much as possible. So we are not alone in this world. So we are living with people. You have to be careful. That's all. And being carefully, you can take it. Being carefully, you can, get positive. So we are exposed. And just be careful. That's all. And we spoke about that from a long time ago.
You mentioned the managers' meeting. You've spoken a lot about your thoughts about the calendar, and nobody really listens. Do you think the Premier League are going to actually listen? Because most of the managers will think exactly the same thing, won't they? They'll think there's too many games. Why can't we have 5 substitutes?
Simon, you are more experienced than me. You are a UK person. You were born here. So the tradition from Boxing Days in the football in the Premier League is massively important. Is one of the characteristics. That's why this league is special in this time of period. This is not going to be changed. So, and I would say, I said many times, I would love not change to play in this period a lot of games. I not approve to play after 2 days, but after 3 days, because it's tradition. 1 century ago, 2 centuries ago, Premier League always the Boxing Days was so important. It was so nice for the families, go to the all together to the stadiums. I can imagine 1st of January in London, Arsenal, Man City, 12:30. How nice will be the stadium with all the people. So it's so nice. The problem is the fixtures, the calendars, that 365 days a year with the international duties for the national teams, for the huge competitions, for a lot of games. This is the problem must be solved. The players, I said many times, have 2 weeks, 3 weeks holidays in summertime. That's all. And the season again, 2-3 weeks and again and again. This is too much. But it's not too much for this period for 1 week, 10 days. Now, of course, the situation that we know exactly for 5-6 games postponed, for many cases in many teams. Yeah, that it happened 1 year ago. It happened quite similar, or 2 years ago, quite similar again. So, yeah, it's the reality, and maybe you have to adapt the situation. What is going to happen the next weeks? But this afternoon, the manager are going to talk with the Premier League and the broadcasters, because are involved too. So they are going to decide what is the best for everyone. When, of course, the wealthy for the players should be the most important thing, and for the people. But when we talk about the wealthy for the players, is the only country don't accept 5 substitutions, just 3. Just 3. Why? So now the team is going to have to protect the players. And when we vote to protect the players, to 5 substitutions, but it's much better for everyone for this amount of games, year by year, the competitions, Premier League, well, the clubs decide no. So that's why what they decide the Premier League for Manchester City, for myself, will be okay. No discussions anymore.
Anita Jones, PLP, please.
Afternoon, Pep.
Hi, Anita.
Could I just confirm, team news, is everyone fit and available for the Boxing Day match against Leicester City?
Well, we had 2 days off. Now we start to training this afternoon, and we're going to see, because every day we make tests, we do tests, and maybe arrive and say this guy cannot training is positive, or this backroom staff is positive, or some injuries or whatever. So I cannot answer you, but hopefully as much as possible, we will be ready for the game on Sunday.
Leicester go into the game having beaten Newcastle in the league, but they're 9th in the table, 22 points behind your side. Of course, they've been hit with injuries and COVID issues, also have played 2 games less than Manchester City. But how surprised are you by their position in the table?
Leicester remain Leicester. For me, remain the top quality manager, absolutely, with exceptional players in all departments. But sometimes seasons or periods, the seasons are high and low. Sometimes they are, maybe we're used, to see Leicester all the time up there, and it's heads off how good this club works in many senses, in recruitment players, in readjust many situations. But sometimes there are periods that they are not all the time consistent. It happens. But a 1 game to 1 game, and you see the quality they have, everything can happen. So, and it remains the same value I give to them and the same credit I give to them, because when you see the quality they have, start for the keeper, finishing for body, they are exceptional.
James Savondra, Talk Sport.
Yeah, but how important is it the way that players conduct themselves and manage themselves off the pitch? And have you had to remind the squad of their responsibilities, particularly at this time of year?
In this type of career, in our careers, the work you do on and off the pitch is the same. It's the same. It's so important. So demanding physically, mentally. You have to live for that profession all the time, every single second. Otherwise, there are guys that they are going to live every single second this profession, and they are going to sustain for a longer the profession. So, but this message I gave to them 6 years ago, every year, every month, many times. So, when they have to prepare, and there are a lot of players, they live in this way. That's why we were consistent. We were consistent fantastically this last season.
I know nothing is official when it comes to Ferran Torres, but would you be disappointed if he left the club in January?
Absolutely not. I want the happiness of my players. I said many times, I said to him when he came to me and with many players, if you are not happy, you have to leave. He had to stay, the people want to leave. We are not a club like other clubs, like even they want to leave, and the CEO and the president say, no, we stay. I give my opinion to the club differently. So the guys who want to stay have to leave. Another issue is the agreement between the clubs and between the players. This is not my business. So the players want to leave, but you have to have an agreement with the club. And if the club is not acceptable, the offer, whatever they do, so you have to stay. But that's why the player have a marvelous agents, like they are able to negotiate through the medias and through use the underneath or use the weapons they have to do the deals. Thus they have to do it. So, but it's not the case for Ferran, for everyone. So you want to leave because you are not happy here, because you believe you will be you'll be happier in another place, you have to go. The career for the football players is short. In one day is over. So that's why if he want to leave, absolutely not disappointed. It's his desire, and if the clubs are having an agreement, I'm happy for him.
My Radio Manchester.
Afternoon, Pep. Just on the player welfare line as well, are you, as a manager, just given Jordan Henderson's comments this week as well, are you finding as a manager you're having to take an increasingly active role in looking out for the well-being of your players?
Yeah, but should be, the players or the manager all together and make a strike or make something, because if just for the words, it's not going to be solved, because the UEFA, the FIFA, the Premier League, the broadcasters, the business is more important than the welfare. The simple example that all around the world, if I substitution here, still 3. Tell me one argument to take care to be more welfare to the players for this one. And here, for everyone decide for themselves, we don't do it. So now I have to discuss about that. What they decide will be okay for me. So it's not necessary to do it, because we talk about the welfare. It's just for the players. The association of the players say, okay, we don't play anymore until we solve that situation. And after, maybe the people are going to pay attention. But you have to decide for the broadcaster, for the Premier League, or for the rest to take decisions on behalf for the welfare for the players. This is not going to happen.
Do you think it could come to that? Do you think it could come to a strike?
No, I don't think so, because we want to play. We want to continue, make happy the people going to the stadium on 26 and 27 and 29 and 31st and 1st and play games. So we love to do that. It's I'm not complete. There's no reason to make absolutely any strike. But when the people say no, World Cups and European Cups and Carabao Cup semi-final 2 legs and FA Cups in Premier League, more teams and more games and less holidays and another one. And we played the first 2 or 3 games to the Premier League without players. Against Tottenham, against the Community Shield, against Leicester, the Tottenham, I didn't have the squad. We have 10 players, 10 players. Is fair for the competition? No, it's not fair. It's not fair. We play against Tottenham with a lack of preparation, a lack of condition, and we lost. And we can lose anyway, because in Spurs away always we lose. But being all together or being just 8 players, but it's not fair. Why? Because they were in holidays. They have to make a rest, the 2-3 weeks. And now in that moment, we talk about the welfare for the players in that moment? No. It's your problem, my friend. And everyone, take a look at yourself.
Stuart Brennan, MEN.
Hello, Pep. I understand what you're saying about the reasons for allowing Ferran Torres to go, because he wants to go and you want to keep players happy. But how much do other considerations come in? I mean, for instance, the progress Cole Palmer has made this season, how much has that helped you to has helped to smooth the decision to allow Ferran to leave?
It's not. I'm thinking what would happen with Cole Palmer would not be here if Varane would ask to the club to leave, he would allow him or not. So I think it would be the same. My feeling would have been the same. So another situation would have been if, for example, you have just 2 or 3 attacking players. Maybe in that situation, maybe Varane said, okay, I have more chance to play and maybe I would stay longer. So I don't know. Always I have the feeling that when Barcelona and Real Madrid knock the door for any player, it's difficult to say no. So difficult. They are the strongest teams in the world in terms of fashion, in terms of cities and many things, many reasons. So, and he's from Spain and Barcelona knocked him. I understand that he want to leave. And when he knocked my door and said, you want to leave? I said, leave. So call Chiqui. You're a smart agent. Try to, make an agreement. If it's done, do it. And right moment, Chiqui didn't text me. I hear that it's close, really close. But the club officially, my club officially didn't tell me anything about Pep is already done, Varane is leaving. Okay. But it's the principle. So I said many times, I cannot push the players. I cannot convince the players to do something when his mind is away from here. So it's no sense. The other clubs, no, it doesn't matter what do. You want to stay, you want to stay, you want to stay. I'm not agree with that, but every club decide for the way he had to decide. So this is my personal, absolute opinion.
The last couple before the embargo, guys. Andy Hampson at PA. Sorry, Andy, we can't hear you. I don't know if you.
Sorry. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, but you know.
Sorry, yeah, Pep. I just wanted to check on Kyle Walker, please. He's not been involved for the last few games. So just wondering if he's all right.
Yeah, that's right. He's not fit, and that's why he was not involved.
All right. Is he fit now? Is he okay to play?
Did you listen my answer to Anita?
Right. Okay. So
you are not connected. You are in the bathroom. Yeah.
Right. All right. Thank you, Pep.
Guys, for the embargo. If you have a question for the embargo, please raise your hand now. But we'll go to Paul just before.
Hiya, Pep. Just coming back to the issue of 3 or 5 substitutions, will you raise that with the other managers today? And is there going to be an increase in support, do you think, for that measure, given that?
Well, do you know how many times we discuss about the manager this issue? Do you know how many times?
No, lots.
A lot. So it's enough. What else? Like Nespresso say. What else?
So it's not going to happen then, in your opinion?
I have training session in that time, so I don't know who's going to decide. What they decide would be good for me.
And just in terms of the game in general, have you had a few positive cases this week, and is the game under threat at all?
Next Sunday?
The Boxing Day one, your game against Leicester.
I don't know. Yeah. I think it was postponed, Leeds Liverpool. It was postponed. So, yeah, there are cases. But it's society, Paul. You know that it's not just the Premier League. Just the Premier League have the virus. So it's in everywhere. So I see the newspapers online every day, and I see the headlines, rise the cases. Restaurants cancel dinners for 60 people, cancel. It's everywhere. It's here. So what we want is, play the competition fairly. And if there are many cases, and with all the clubs, like Leicester, maybe our opponent on the next one, of course, it should be cancelled. You know that? But the same. I know how it works, these meetings. Everyone looks himself, and that's all. So that's why when they decide the Premier League with the managers will be okay.